back to the YouTube channel of Pro and Do Vids, and this afternoon it's my official 2023 Manly Sea Eagles season review. So yeah, every year I do this. I do review the Manly Sea Eagles season, obviously give my thoughts on it and what things have, what things are talking points to mention during the season and things that are worth mentioning and talking about. And basically just a whole overview of what the season was and how it really treated us in general. And yeah, that's why it's the season review for this year for Manly. So the club I support, obviously, it's pretty obvious with what's around me. But no, look, it should be a good review. Just going to give my honest thoughts and things, and obviously give my sort of opinion on a few things too. But it all means well, and obviously, yeah, it's a review for a reason. So I gotta, I guess, address everything as best as possible. But before I do start, please be sure to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and comment your thoughts on Manly season in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what other people have in mind about our season and what they think about it, because I know the season wasn't the best, but I feel like there were some good times there too. But yeah, just want to see what others think as well. But look, yeah, it was a big season for Manly, obviously. Change of coach, change of a few players. Some experience left us late 2022, and then we got some new players in 2023. So we have had a bit of a changing transition sort of, moment there. But yeah, I think, I think there's bright days ahead though. If I'm being honest, there is bright days ahead for this club, because I remember last year when I was doing my 2022 season review, I wasn't too sure where the club would be, but just getting used to what's happening at the club. Obviously it's a bit strange with all this, I guess, just the way it's been sort of structured out, our recruitment recently and stuff like that. But I'm starting to see why it's been a bit like this, and why certain players are leaving. And I know people are a bit upset about that, the fans obviously, but I think I can see the avenue into why this could be a good thing with who's going, who's coming in, and what the club's trying to build. And Steve's obviously trying to build the team he wants, and that team will determine whether he is the right man going forward or not. But yeah, a lot of question marks next year, obviously. But without further ado, this is my official 2023 season review. Okay, where it went wrong and where it went right for Manly in 2023. So yeah, wow, it was really interesting change in momentum for our season, to where it got so wrong but started so well early. I will say this: our off season and pre-season was the best that I've ever seen in a long time, I think, because we won all our trial games, being the Rabbitohs and the Roosters, pretty convincingly. Well, I mean, that Rabbitohs game was 30-28, but we looked really good in that game too. And that Roosters game, where it was mainly full-strength team versus full-strength team, we were gunning that game. And so looked very fit, looked very strong, and I was pretty optimistic that, a good season is coming up. And, the off-season training that I was seeing too, like the good content by the Manly media, seeing how the boys are training and stuff like that, going camps, going onto the beach to do training sessions, it looked really good. And that's what I think united the boys this year, because, I'm sure many people have noticed this, but the team looks a lot more united than it's ever been. We go back to last year, and everyone was saying that, how the group's all splitted because of the whole, I don't want to mention that word, but the whole saga from last year, basically. But yeah, they're all good now, and I think we can actually see that the boys are a lot more united as a group, and they are a lot more closer than they've ever been. So you got to give credit to Seabold and the whole coaching staff for making that possible. So I think we looked really healthy in the off-season, looked really healthy, and I think fans had hope. I think fans didn't want to jump the gun straight away, but it was hard not to after how he looked in the off-season. But even in the off-season, it wasn't just the off-season looked so good. It was even in the first couple of weeks of the regular season. Like at Brookie on a Saturday arvo, which I was at, obviously, it was a great win. Manly Dogs at Brookie won that one 31-6. And, it was an incredible game. Winning like that in round one, it was incredible. But the thing, what stands out to me was that it was our first round one game win since 2013. So 10 years apart, and we get our first round one win since then. So that was obviously a really positive thing to start the season off with a win at Rookie. And the Bulldogs, at the time, we didn't know how bad the Bulldogs were going to be this year, but they were actually hope to be a lot better than what they were this year. You know, they were the most underwhelming team of 2023. I'd say they're up there too. Had Kickow and Burden and Adokar on one left edge, and we smashed that edge all day. You know, signing Kickow and Marnie and all these players, but still couldn't do much during the year. But even in round one, we exposed them all. So that was a great win. Our whole team looked great. Turbo had a masterclass game. Cherry Evans scored a hat-trick. Ches and Turbo just combined for tries for days in that game. So it was just a great way to start the regular season. The next week in round 2 was a bye, so we got 4 points and we're sitting comfortably at the top of the ladder, which was a rare sight to see us up that high, because it's been a while since Amelia have started the season in top 2 or even top 4. And then round 3, Thursday night, we took on the Eels at Brookie as well. And that was a hot night. I wasn't there, unfortunately, couldn't make it. But it was a really hot night from memory. And we still won. But we should have won 13 plus though, because that game we were smashing Parramatta to bits. We were playing with a lot of confidence, momentum, and guys like Turbo and Schuster in that game were unbelievable. Like Schuster's first game back at 5'8" for the end, his first game of the year for 2023. Oh, actually second because he missed round 1. But yeah, he looked fantastic in that game against the Eels. Him and Turbo combined for tries and whatever, and it was a really good night actually. The whole team played really well. Cherry Evans was unbelievable too. But yeah, no, the team looked really united and looked really strong and fit. I guess we nearly bottled that game too, which I was a bit worried we would have, but thankfully we didn't. So yeah, very lucky to this day we still won. But yeah, we won that game and we sat with 6 points around the top of the ladder, equal with the Broncos, Dolphins, and the Warriors. And it was crazy to see all those 4 teams start the year so well with no losses yet. So yeah, it was unbelievable. And I think many people were shocked but happy to see a bit of a change there. But as for us, yeah, it's a rare sighting to see us that high on the ladder, because I bet no one expected us to start the year that well, especially under Seabold and all the criticism he got. But I knew Seabold would, be good for us in some aspects. But yeah, no, it was a good start to the season. It was really positive, actually, that whole February to March period. I guess where it did go a bit wrong, though, and it's funny because it happened on the same day. And this is not the reason why it went all wrong, but I'm just saying, we lost on that same day we signed Aaron Woods. So I remember we signed Aaron Woods from the Dragons in a trade deal for Viliami Fifita and Alec Tuatavaki, because I don't know why they let them both go. Maybe it's to do with cap, or I don't know, the manager being difficult, or money and stuff. But yeah, I remember there was speculation for a while there that Fifita and Tuatavaki might be both going, especially Fifita, because he was a big talking point in going. And we wanted to keep him. I think Tuatavaki was a player that we weren't really too concerned about letting go. But with Fifita and his potential, yeah, we didn't want to let him go. But eventually we gave in, and we let the Dragons sign them both on the same day we played Rabbitohs. And we got Aaron Woods in a trade deal, which everyone was going off about. And I don't blame them, but yeah, Woods was there for experience. And to be fair, it wasn't that bad for us, to be honest. But I guess, yeah, losing 2 young forwards for Woods, who hasn't not much to prove anymore, it's a bit of a tough one to take. But yeah, it's awkward because it was the same day we lost to the Rabbitohs at a Core Stadium, that 7:30 Saturday night game, and I was there too. And it just, I don't know, it feels like that day is where everything went wrong. Lost 2 rookies and signed a washed up, I guess, old player that doesn't have much to offer. And then losing our first game of the year to the Rabbitohs in a heartbreaking golden point loss, 13 points to 12. It was like, damn, that stopped all our momentum. Because the following week, we played the Knights and we had a draw with them. And I was like, yeah, wow, we're not really, as good as what we were at the start of the year originally. And we should have beaten the Knights too. Like, we should have beaten both Souths and Knights. But just our defence let us down, I think, and poor decisions making as well. So, yeah, no, that's where it sort of went wrong, actually, from that period going forward. Because, what's funny is, to me, from looking like in the preseason, being the preseason premieres, and then like from that period in February to like round 3 against Parramatta, like in March, we looked like the Panthers, the Storm in their prime, and the Roosters in their prime. That's how we looked, actually. That's how we generally looked. But it seemed like since that the Rabbitohs lost, we looked like a side that was still good, but not great, and weren't the same side as what we were at the start of the year. So I think those small little momentum things just sort of hurt our season a bit, and tough losses too might have hurt us too. We've had some good wins this year, but we've had some bad losses based on bad decisions and bad errors or whatever. So, and people were saying that, oh look, under Des we were a lot better than what we've been this year, but that's not true. Under Des, we were still inconsistent, still making errors, and still, letting him easy tries and still getting pumped by 30, 40. But what's impressive is that this year, under Seabold, we've only lost by 40 only lost by 40 once, and that was the Panthers at Bluebet Stadium. So we've improved slightly, I feel like, but our inconsistency is still, despite change of coaches, our inconsistency is still a big issue today. So yeah, I feel like, that's where it goes wrong. We start well for a bit there, but then we go off the rails and don't play as hard as what we used to. So we've got to maintain that in the off-season and try and work on being an equal club in terms of that. But yeah, I'd say that's where it went right and went wrong. Those little momentum periods around late March, where we lost to the Rabbitohs and then had a draw to Knights. And then, I think we sort of were a bit buggered out and tired from all that sort of travel and losing and stuff. So, yeah, that's where it went wrong and right. Okay, on to the best win and worst loss of 2023. So I had a look at all the Manly games of this year, seeing which ones were the great wins of the year and what were the worst losses of the season. And actually, you know what? It wasn't that hard to find, because I do remember being at both these games really well and remembering how painful it was to be at the loss and how great it was to be at the win. So the first game, I'll start with the win, and that was against the Storm back in round 7 at Rookie on a Friday night. And that was an incredible win. That was a win for the ages, that one, because we came off a loss to the Panthers the week before at Bluebet, losing 44 points to 12. And I gave us no hope against the Storm. I remember saying on the Tuesday tips that, Storm going to beat us 13 plus, because how do you get smashed by Penrith and have any hope of beating the Storm the next week as well? So I wasn't really too sure how it would go. But we sort of just played off the momentum at home, and we seem to make the Fortress, Rookie Oval, our fortress this year. We seem to really be strong in that, making Brookvale Oval a really home orientated, tough ground for opposition to come and play at, which is great. But we sort of brought that mentality back to play for our home ground and play at home really well. Because I think we've only lost how many games there this year? About 2 games, or no, 3. Titans, Cowboys, and Panthers. I'm pretty sure that's the only teams we've lost to there. So it says a lot, really, because that's the best record we've had at home in a long time. But beating the Storm there was a famous win, winning 18 points to 8. It was a game based on us smashing the Storm, just big shots, big hits, a few sin bins and a few suspensions there. But you expect that in a Storm and Manly game for sure. And that was an incredible win. That was a really special win. I mean, who can forget the famous Aloiai and Olakawatu hit on Olin? I think that sort of rattled Olin really badly, that he hasn't been in the same place since that tackle. So yeah, that's pretty much an example of how good the game was based on those hits. And that was the best one of the night, the Olin and Olakawatu, the Aloiai and Olakawatu one on Olin. That was the best hit of the night for sure. But yeah, that was the best win. That was our best win, because the Storm were sitting comfortably in the top 4 at the time, and we were sort of on the edge of the top 8, about to fall out. But yeah, that win against the Storm was huge, and we just smashed them all night. We just were gritty, we were strong. We played really well, and we gave the Storm no chance to really get through us and score a try at all. So yeah, apart from Will Warbrick scoring, that was about it. Because the score was 18 points to 8. So I'd say that was our best win of the season. It wasn't the biggest win, but it was the most grittiest and most toughest win. That's how Manly used to play back in the day. We're really tough and gritty and based our game on defence, and that's how we played against Melbourne. And we battered and bruised them. That's the win for the ages, that one, and that's a favourite win for me personally too. So I'd say that Storm versus Manly game at Brookvale Oval in round 7 was the best win of the year. And I've already said it before, but our worst loss of the year was definitely against the Panthers at Bluebet Stadium in round 6, the week before we beat the Storm in round 7. So Oh god, that was a tough game. That was a tough game to be at because, I went there. I was like, you know what, we could give Panthers a run for their money because I know round four, losing to Rabbitohs was tough by a point, but I saw optimism there that we can go with the big sides. Then against the Knights, we were a bit shaky, I guess, and I was a bit like, our defence needs to improve against Penrith, and I'm pretty confident it can, because it was 32-32 against the Knights, and I was like, yeah, got to improve our defence against Penrith the week after, but it didn't, clearly didn't, because Penrith won 44-12, and yeah, look, we got badly exposed in that game. That was a really awful game. That was 100% our worst loss of the year. That game was just, I don't know. It was a game where Tom Trbojevic didn't play that well either. I think he was not really confident. Didn't seem to take much runs at all. Didn't seem to want to go into the line much. And yeah, I think unfortunately for Turbo, he really struggled to get into the game. I think Penrith shut him out really well. And our forwards got monstered. Like Fisher Harris, Leota, Sorensen, you name it, were smashing through our forward pack. And yeah, I felt our forwards and the team was disgusting that day. That was a really awful game by us. Obviously Penrith are the benchmark for a reason, and they're very hard to beat at home. But I think conceding 44 points is never a good thing, and especially at half time. I think at half time it was like 20 0 or something, or nearly. Oh, actually, no, it was 30 0. I think at half time. So. That was actually embarrassing. It was awful, and I think for Paul Young and Kyle Weeks to play 5'8" and start the game there, because I think the fans pressured Seabold to put Weeks at 5'8" because what's it called? Because I think Johns wasn't playing well enough or something, or in the Knights game wasn't great. And I think they wanted to twist it up a bit to give us a hope in beating Penrith and putting Weeks there as a wild card to play well at 5'8", but got trampled on unfortunately and had a really bad game at 5'8". So then when he got hooked in the second half, Weeks, Cooper Johns was luckily on the bench for us, and we looked a lot better. We only conceded an extra 12 points in the second half, from being 30-0 to only being 44-12, and scoring out only 2 tries in the second half. Wasn't a bad effort, I don't think, but yeah, clearly that's our worst loss of the year. But what's impressive is we've only lost by 40 once this year. That's a long time since that's happened, so I'll definitely say that's a positive thing for the club, but it was a terrible loss and a terrible night because I left early. I think when Dylan Edwards scored a try in the second half or something, I left and I was like, I'm done with this shit. I can't deal with it anymore. I'm out. And it was a tough night. It was not a very happy night, but oh well. We move on, I guess. But yeah, I'd say that was our best win against the Storm, and our worst loss to the Panthers right there. All right, on to my most improved players of the club now in 2023. So, look, actually, you know what? There was a few standout players this year. That obviously, the standouts, as always, Cherry Evans, Turbo when he was fit. Croker was great again this year. Paseka, but there was actually a few really improved players this year. Like a lot of players that have improved this year in 2023. And see, obviously, players that were coached last year or the year before weren't getting much game time, and may have been playing out of position or not getting game time in first grade, and that may have knocked their confidence. But for some reason this year, these players have really come into their own, and have looked really great this year. So, obviously there was a few really improved players, and I'll name you 3 that I think have improved this year in a lot of ways. And I'll start with the first one, Paseka. Like I said before, he was a standout player, but most improved as well. It seems like with Taniela, he's taking his game to another level this year. Like he seems to really own games in the forward packs. And I think since Martin Tapau left, it was obviously, and Fanua Blake left, obviously the void was opening up for Paseka to be more of a leader in that forward pack. And I think he's really taken on that role really well. I do remember in the off-season, he was in an interview one day, and they asked Paseka, what's your goals for 2023? And he was like, oh, look, I want to know who the real me is. I want to know who the real Paseka is. I want to, try and be a dominant forward in this team. I want to, really make this year my year and make it a breakout year. And he certainly has done that. He has done that for sure. And yeah, he's been incredible for us this year. Paseka's run meters and his effort every week is unbelievable. And he was killing it this year until that injury against the Sharks later in the year in Cronulla. So that was a real shame getting the MCL injury, but he'll be back better and stronger in 2024, I bet. And yesterday was his birthday, so shout out to Paseka and his birthday yesterday. But yeah, 100% a player that has improved this year by a lot. I think we saw him improve a bit last year too, but wasn't as good as what he was this year. So yeah, Paseka's really turned to a machine this year. He's a starting forward now for for a reason, and I can't see him losing his spot in this team if he continues to play this sort of form that he's shown this year in 2023. So Paseka's improved a lot in the Seabold and new coaching staff, I feel like. Another one for me is Ethan Bullimore. And I think Bullimore is another one that needs a lot of credit for what he's done this year. Last year he was utilised very badly by Hasler. He used to be played in the back row. Used to be played sometimes in reserve grade. Like got dropped a few times and stuff. And maybe some of it was deserved, but I think Bullimore has shown why he's a first grader and why he shouldn't be dropped again because. Look, the bloke's improved massively. I'm a big fan of Bully. I'm so glad he's re-signed with us for another 2 years until 2025. And obviously, his relationship with Seaves goes all the way back to the Broncos days. And, Seabold would have known a lot about Bullimore. And obviously, yeah, we've always known that Bullimore has potential. He's very fast for a prop, got good leg speed and stuff. But it's just really annoying to see him not being utilised or used properly last year into 2022. And see, I think ever since he moved to the forwards, like in the prop position, he's looked a lot better. And he's not a back rower, so hopefully the back row experiment is done and dusted. I know he played a bit there this year, but he was forced to play there. And he can play there, there's no issue about it, but clearly his game is more of a middle player, running hard runs and making an impact through the middle, not on the edge. So, yeah, I think Bullimore's new position is definitely prop and coming off the bench as an impact player, but yeah, he's improved a lot. He has really come to his own this year. Ever since that round 1 game against the Bulldogs, he really stood out to me, and he hasn't looked back since. So yeah, Bullimore has had a breakout year this year. Hopefully, the new re-signing has given him more confidence to go another length next year in 2024. And yeah, definitely a player that's improved a lot for me. So I'd say him as a player that's improved a lot for me this year. And the last one I'll pick is actually another one that not many people would have thought would have had a big year this year, but may have had a quieter year compared to the others. But I still think, and I think others would agree with me, that there is a lot of improvement in this player. And obviously, yeah, he's a Trbojevic, and obviously not like Tom or Jake yet, but he's finding his own player and his own self, I feel like, and that's Ben Trbojevic. I think Burbo deserves a lot of credit for the year he's had. He's become a mainstay in our team regularly. I don't think he's been dropped to Blacktown at all this year. The only time he's missed playing games is through injury, which is annoying, like hamstring injuries. We've already got one Trbojevic brother battling hamstring injuries, can't have another one. So that's the only times Ben has been out for injury. But other than that, he's been really good for our back row this year. Like, he's looked really good. He seems to have widened out a bit and gotten bigger, and I think he's bulked up enough to be a good back rower. And I think that's his position going forward. That is his position going forward at the back row. I know he played a bit of centre in the past, last year and the year before, and he played a bit of juniors in the centres too. But no, he's a back rower. I think he plays off a good running role, off a good half that will give him good ball, like short ball. And I think he's a good line runner and a good hitter too. Like his tackling technique's really improved this year as well. Maybe he's gotten lessons off Jake potentially, but no, all around Burbo has really improved, and I think he deserves a spot in the team next year. So I'm going to say Paseka, Bullimore, and Ben Trbojevic were my most improved players for Manly this year. The three of them. All right, now on to my thoughts on Anthony Seabold in his first year at the helm as the Manly coach. Now look, obviously, yeah, it was a tough transition at first when we all heard about Des was leaving the club back in October, and yeah, he got sacked, and obviously we were on the lookout for a new coach. And I remember at the time, there was a few names up there. There was like Josh Hannay, who was a real contender at the time. There was also a few others. I think Michael Maguire may have been considered again. But then the other one, the main one, was obviously Anthony Seabold. And yeah, Seabold was a really strong contender at the time because, they had some other options out there, but they were really narrowed focus on signing him. Obviously, Penn and Mestrov must have thought that he was the right man to take the club going forward. And yeah, they did their due diligence on him. And yeah, we're happy to have him at the club, it seemed like. And, it's been a year since he signed with the club, it feels like now, and I've got to say, his first year at the club, it's been a rocky one, I feel like, in his first year, but you know what? In all seriousness, I think he's handled his first year as a Manly coach really well, I feel like, I know the fans and other people are going to continue to criticise him, and maybe some of it's fair, maybe some of it's not, and I don't think it's all that fair, to be honest, because you look at how the Broncos finished in 2020 and everything like that. You know, I know Seabold wasn't all at fault for that, but you may have thought at the time when he got sacked from Brisbane that he may never be a coach again of the NRL. But his first year at Manly, it's been an all right one, I think. I think it's a year that probably is a building year. Nothing serious, nothing major. I think finishing 12th where we finished this year was a position most people would have probably predicted us to finish in, if I'm being honest. But I think with the squad we've got, we should be finishing nearly in the 8. And I think that's the goal for next year in 2024 is to make the top 8. And I'm sure Seabold's aware of that. If not, then he might be in trouble. But his first year has been pretty good, actually. He seems to really have united the boys. They seem to actually play a lot more tougher for him. I mean, there's actually evidence that they are playing a lot better under him too. I think towards the back end of the year, the games that sent out some, like the Warriors game, we lost in. I know we lost in the other games and stuff, but I think Siebes has really brought this team together. Like the last 2 games, I know it's only Dogs and the Tigers, but you could see that they are starting to figure out his style of play and how he wants the team to play, and the players are sort of responding to that. And now I think, it's momentum that hopefully can continue into next year, But I guess, maybe some things that are a little bit, unsure of, like still, or a little bit uncertain about, is, playing players over these players, and it's a bit like Hasler a little bit, playing these guys that deserve to be dropped or deserve to be in reserve grade for a number of weeks, but end up playing them instead of the rookies that deserve a go and have been playing really well for Blacktown. But I do notice this though. Seabold is a lot more active in dropping players and bringing players up. I think he's a bit more active in that, and he actually does take a lot of accountability for players' performances. But I think with some of our rookies this year, I think some of them could have gotten a bit more of a go on the saves. But what can you do? But I feel like there was definitely an opportunity there to see guys like Humphrey's going to go this year during the Origin period when DCE was out before we signed Arthur. We could have seen a bit more Weeks maybe at fullback or something when Turbo was down. We should have seen Gordon play a lot more earlier, I feel like. There was times where we struggled a lot, in the middle of the season, and I think we could have used Gordon's, energy and pace off the bench, but we waited towards the end of the season for him to make his debut. To this day, I'm not too sure why we waited that long to play Gordon, but it must have been like a easing type thing to make him more comfortable in first grade by playing the last 2 games of the season and playing full time next year, I'd hope. Whether that's the plan, I'm not too sure, but I mean, we should have seen him a bit more earlier debut, I think, Gordon. But just things like that. I think we're a little bit annoying, but other than that, based on the season we've had without Tom yet again, half a year without Tom, and having a lot of injuries to our forwards, like missing Paseka, missing Jake for a few weeks, missing Schuster for a period there, Aloye for a number of weeks. We even lost Collar at the start of the year too, Garrick at some stages. So we've been through a lot of injuries this year, but I think Seabold's really done well with the squad. He's made them still turn up and still give every game a fight. Because I've noticed this too. In every game, we don't give up. We seem to really stay in a contest whether we do win or lose. And we're a tough, gritty team. We seem to really fight and stay in contests, I've noticed. And apart from that Penrith game, there hasn't really been a game where I've seen us give up, But even in that Penrith game back at Penrith, we still fighted in the second half. But our effort area has been really good this year, and I think it comes down to good coaching and really, smart coaching too, to really, show some fight and character, because, yeah, it's been a while since Manly have sort of fighted in games, and I think that comes down to good coaching by Siebes and Dimmick and Flanagan when he was with us too. So, no, look, Seabold's first year's a pass for me. I'll give him like a C plus, if I'm being honest with you. Maybe that's a bit generous, but for his first year and all the criticism he got, I think it's a fair ranking, I reckon anyway. So C plus for Seabold in his first year, and I reckon it's a pass. So, yeah, look, maybe he could have improved on some things, but other than that, his first year at the club, I think it's a pretty good one, despite what people said about him. Okay, now on to the biggest signing of 2024 for Manly and the biggest loss heading into 2024 for the club. So, we have been a lot more active in the player, recruitment and just in general being more active around how you manage our squad. And yeah, we've obviously been making a lot of changes for next year and really changing the squad up and seeing what's there to change, what's there to improve in the whole top 30, etc. And look, obviously, seeing players being cut from contracts early or seeing players getting released in their final year of contracts is part of the big changes I'm seeing at the club. They're trying to move away from players that have been there long enough to go, I assume, and they want to bring in some new players, which is fair enough in a new system. But yeah, obviously we've seen some shock signings, and yeah, I'll talk about that one in a minute. But I'll talk about the loss that I think is the biggest for the club going forward. But the biggest signing for me, and I know I've been critical of it before, but I've just realised that, I have a bit of more of an open mind now when it comes to this signing. And I think, he's now a Manly player, so he deserves my support. And I will admit, the time I did go off about Brooks signing with us, I overreacted. So, I take that back for sure. But no, look, I think many people were criticised when he first came here, but they've realised now that he's a Manly player and he needs our support. So I'm ready to give that support to Brooksy. But yeah, I'd say Luke Brooks is our biggest signing heading into 2024. He's been in the NRL for a long time now. Obviously, he has struggled with the Tigers for a long 10 years there, but isn't all his fault, really. I think there's a lot of things that have come to why he's been, I guess, targeted as a issue for the Tigers, which maybe he's had some off games and has had some times where he hasn't been great, but he's actually shown a lot of potential at the Tigers too in those 10 years. Like, he seems to have a really good running game, which I think will be used a lot more next year with Cherry Evans being the organiser and Brooks being the running 5'8". I think we're going to finally see Brooks run the ball a bit more and have less stress on him, other than being the halfback and always the key man at the Tigers, which he can't handle, obviously. So yeah, we'll finally see him having a bit more of a running game, a bit more of an easier sort of schedule to follow when he's playing in the halves of the DCE. So that's going to help him a lot. But yeah, look, obviously never play finals, never play for the Blues or Australia. But that's not all his fault, because the Tigers are a mess and their joint stinks. And I think them moving players on and changing coaches nearly every 2 years, it doesn't help. Brooks, especially with all that change happening and struggling to adapt to it all for a longer period of time, because they rebuild a squad for 2 years and then they rebuild again. They've another year they rebuild, another year they rebuild. So it's not good for Brooks always being through that all. And I think Brooks should have definitely left the Tigers earlier. Like, he should have departed the Tigers at least 4 years earlier, I feel like. So, obviously you can't do much about it now, but yeah, I think he was there for too long. But that's down to the Tigers management not looking after him properly, because I think Brooks has requested to be released a few times now. I remember back in 2021, he requested to go to the Knights, who were interested in him at the time in 2021, and the Tigers knocked back his release request twice and said that, no, you have to say to the Tigers, we believe that you're the man to take us going forward or something. And yeah, Brooks, went along with that. But yeah, he's obviously very passionate to get away from the club, which I don't blame him for, because the fans have abused him. The club's obviously been in a mess for a long time, and Brooks continues to be the scapegoat for everything that's happened. Which, look, again, he may have some bad games here and there, but it's not all his fault. You can't blame Tigers not missing the final, not making the 8 since 2011 all on Brooks. That's unfair, for example. So, but yeah, we're finally gonna see Luke Brooks in a new system and a new club, and that's gonna be really interesting to see how he does go with guys like Turbo, Cherry Evans, and playing behind a forward pack of ROLLERCOASTER, Paseka, Jake, Jovovic, and Croker at hooker, a good dummy half. So, he's going to have a lot of quality players around him. So I'm excited as a Manly fan to personally see how he goes. And to think this could be our left edge next year, Brooks, Schuster, Garrick, and Paolo, or Vega on the wings, or Tuipulotu. There's a lot of potential there. So I, as a Manly fan, am actually getting pretty excited to see how Brooks goes. But I guess time will tell. But as for our biggest loss heading into 2024, it's a tough one because we lost Kepi and Tulangi just recently too. And both of them gave us good service over time, but I think when it comes down to potential and promise, I think this is where, we may regret losing this one. And I think Samuel Fainu and even Latu Fainu might be one we might regret for a long time too. But I'm only saying Samuela for now because he's played first grade and he's already shown what he's got. And he'll be a big loss, I reckon. He's got a great tank for a forward. It looks like he can play long minutes. Very skillful too, very skillful young back rower. And originally he was always a prop, I think, but he sort of got a bit skinnier, I think, and a little bit more leaner. So he got moved to the back row, and he played really well there. So I think he's a loss personally. I wish we didn't let him go, but anyway, what can you do now, I guess? But he'll develop into a really fine player, I feel like, at the Tigers, Samuel Fainu. And, in 5 games at Manly, he's already shown a lot of potential. Unfortunately, after the Eels game where we lost at Combank, he wasn't seen again. I don't know whether the club thought it was his fault for Eels putting a score on us in that game, or it came down to other things I don't really know how to explain. But he after that Eagles game at Combank, he did not see first grade again, so that was really disappointing to see. But he's a younger player, he's got a lot of potential. Only 19 years old, will be 20 next year. And he's got a huge future in front of him. I think him and Ladu have a big future. Both of them have signed long-term deals at the Tigers, and as a Manly fan, I hope they go great. I really hope that they both kick on to be great players, and they will be. They've already played under 19s Blues for them in the State of Origin this year, and both had great performances. And them two have been really ranked as higher profile, quality young players to look out for in the future, and you can already see why. So we'll miss Samuela, but hopefully not as much. But he'll kill it at the Tigers, I think. So for me, that's our biggest signing, Luke Brooks, for next year, and our biggest loss for 2024, Samuela Fainu. Okay, on to the final sort of part of this review. My expectations for Manly in 2024. So basically, the thing that I'm expecting to see of us in 2024, and where I think we should finish, and where I think the club should be really aiming for in next year. So for me, with this club, I think with what the signings we've made and the squad we've currently got, I think it's a team that should be at least contending for the top 8. And at highest, top 6, I reckon. Top 4 would be incredible to get there, and it's certainly not impossible because if Turbo's fit for half the year at least, we'll make the 8. I'm pretty confident in that one. Top 4 is not out of question either, but I think top 6 to top 8 is definitely where we should honestly be targeting next year. If we don't get any of those, then Seabold's in trouble, and I think the whole squad needs a bit more of a shake-up than we think. But no, look, with the squad we've currently got, it's a really healthy-looking squad. A lot of potential, a lot of promise, a lot of young talent and some experience in there too. It's really exciting to see. And I think we are developing a nice side that could be competitive next year if we get it right. So I reckon we should be finishing between 8th to 5th at best, personally. The lowest I'd take is 10th, I feel like. But come on, I think as a team, in the squad we've got, it's top 8 quality. I think that's where we need to aim for that. So hopefully Steve's, the coaching staff, and the players are all, agreeing to the fact that we should be a top 8 team by next year. I'd hope so anyway. I think that's where we should finish, and I think based on the team we've got, that's 100% where we should be, in the top 8, let's be real. I want to see a bit more attack for our middles as well. Like, I want to see Paseka take his game to a whole new level. I want to see Jake, still a bit of leader he is. And I want to see ROLLERCOASTER consistently keep up his beast form, as always. I I do want to see Croker and Gordon become that new Fainu and Coruscant combination we had back in 2019. I want to see like a remake of that, if that's possible. But I just want to see more consistency too. I want to see more consistency, you know. If Turbo goes down, let's say, again, and I don't want to bring that up because I hate thinking about Tom being out again, but, you know, I want to see us still be consistent throughout the year without Tom, if that's ever the case, or even Cherry Evans during Origin. I want to see us still play with the effort that we can. But now that Cole has really proven in those last 2 games against the Bulldogs and the Tigers at fullback, he seems to be the real option going forward to play fullback for us. If Turbo's ever out, I feel like we had Garrick, but I think Cole is a more ideal choice now, and he's proven that. But yeah, you know, even if we have Turbo go down or if we have a bad injuries hole yet again, I still want to see the boys be consistent, make their tackles, still work hard as a team for each other because that's been proven before. I will say this, if we can find our form from the preseason this year and the early rounds of this year too, like you know, early March, our form back then, how good it was, then we can go a long way. But that depends if we can work hard for each other and keep making that belief possible that we can do anything as a team. And I believe there's a lot of potential there, but it just needs to be maintained consistently, you get what I mean? So that's pretty much what I think for Manly next year, the top 8, the top 6 finish, and just to be a bit more consistent and overall, you know, handle adversity well together. But everyone, that's my 2023 Manly Warringah Seagulls season review. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and comment your thoughts on the season that Manly had. Love to hear what everyone has to say about Manly this year. Was their year a pass mark or was it a fail? Let me know in the comments down below. But anyway, I hope you all enjoy it, and yeah, hopefully it's a better year next year.